Very good evening to all. So as part of the data validation parts, we have seen how to validate the columns and how to validate the schemas as well. And we have seen that null values, I reckon, or some kind of stuff was previously we have seen so far. And we used the YAML file like what we did for the control data frame and reference data file as same as YAML file. So today we are going to see how we can rename the particular columns. Okay, let me show you the meta columns look like. Okay, suppose this is my file name, two-wheeler sales and four-wheeler sales, and so we have the two source files. So these two-wheelers have some columns with the OEM and model name, segment, month, and year. So I want to rename the particular columns only. Suppose OEM is there and I want to rename it as a brand. Month is there, I want to rename it as a month of sale. And the model price is there, I want to rename it as a price range. So similarly, when it comes to the body of four-wheelers, we have the body type, and I need to rename that one into the segment, and the engine to the engine capacity. So there is a reason for doing these kind of stuff. Why? Because sometimes you want to do the union by name. So if the names are different, it is not going to do a proper kind of union. So there is a time we need to look up to rename the particular columns. So we are in this video, we are going to see how we can make that one in a dynamic way. Okay. So like that, we created a meta columns with file name, file columns, and what are the columns should be renamed. Okay. And we have the another file called as a MetaFiles. Okay. Previously we have called it as a control data frame, right? Same thing only. I just renamed. So we have the file name and file path and output folder. Output folder means when we need to write it to a parted file. So we need to mention which folder we need to write. Okay. So I'm keeping that one as well. Output folder as a sales and file path. We have for the two-wheeler separate file path and four-wheeler separate file path as well. So the first stuff we need to do always, we need to import the required packages. Okay. So I imported the date time and Pyspark types and functions as well. Then afterward, let's create a sales directory. So we have the DB utils. In the DB utils, we have the n number of functions. So out of that one, we use the make directories is one of the function to make and create a directories. Okay. So later on, in the file store, let me show you this. I have a file store. In that file store, I created a meta store as a folder. Inside that folder, I keep all my metadata related files. So I kept over the MetaFiles and metacolumns.csv as well. And I have the two-wheelers and the four-wheelers here there. Okay. So first thing, we need to read the control data frame and the reference data frame from the meta store. Or inside the function, you can also read that one. Not an issue for us. Okay. So this is how the control data frame looks like. Right. And the next thing, we need to write a code in such a way that it has to read all the files which are mentioned in the control data frame from the particular file path, and it has to rename the particular columns from the metadata columns.csv. Okay. So let's create a function. Read and rename. Just a column named as. So let's define a control data frame. Let's give the parameters. Control equal method just the parameters, nothing more than else. Okay. Even you can read these two data frames inside the function. It doesn't matter at all. Okay. so that we can eliminate the parameters. We can eliminate the parameters in a function. Okay. Generally, previously we created a setup notebook so that we use the parameters. For this simple kind of thing, I'm just reading here itself. Okay. Even if you call it in a setup notebook and again run that notebook in this notebook, and also it is going to work fine. Okay. I'm just showing the different ways of doing the things. Just copy and paste this one. And most importantly, everything in try catch. Set exception as equal. HDR of it. Okay. So let's add some print statement. Okay. From the control data frame, we need to create the data frames. Okay. Read in the file part, and from the file part, we need to create the data frames. So I'm going to iterate through each and everything of the control data frame for X control data frame. File part equal to X of this thing. Similarly, the file fine. So let's create a data frames. Spark.read.format as CSV, all our source files, all our CSV files. So that's why I'm taking a single format option added to option. Let's say created the data frame first. Okay. Now the next thing is we need to read the reference data. Make some indentation. So before that, I will show you. Let's print the reference data from here. RTF.show. So we have the file name and file columns and the rename columns are there, right? So from here, we need to select the particular column names which are should be renamed. Okay. So as you can see, the null and all, we know we don't want these things. We want the file columns which are should be renamed. Okay. We have the OEM and we have the brand. We have the month and we have the month. Like that only we need to take. Okay. We don't want all other columns. Why? Because why we don't want all other columns means, so we are creating a mapping here. Okay, like a dictionary comprehension. So what if we create a dictionary comprehension, the model name is going to create as a null. Segment is also going to create as a null. So keeping those points into consideration, select only the columns which are going to be renamed. Okay. So that's what we are going to do now. So we read a metadata.columns as a reference TF. So let's add some filter condition. Reference equal to rftf.filter. Let's say f.com and what's the column in here there? File columns. Sorry, fine. Okay. We need to filter the file columns and rename the columns according to the file name. That's right. Equals to the equals to the file name from the control data. Okay. Once the filter condition is done, and we need to add one more condition. Sure. And f dot column of renamed columns is not equal to null. Okay. Okay. Then select only few file column names, file columns, come rename columns. Okay. So let me show you how it is going to look like. Say reference fine. Separate fine. So let's call that function. So an error occurred, stream name null not defined. So just place this one in double quotes as well. Yes, we got it right. For the file name two-wheelers, we got the required column should be renamed. And the file name for the four-wheelers also we got the required columns should be renamed. Okay, like this we are going to expect the output for the reference data. Okay. Now let's create a mapping condition. For the mapping condition, we are going to use the dictionary component. Let's say mapping equal to row of file columns, file columns is equal to the row of rename columns. Okay. For row in reference data. Okay. So like this, we created a mapping condition. Now we need to iterate through this dictionary. Okay. So that we can use the with column rename function And in the with column rename function, we are going to replace the original columns with the new columns. For original calls from new calls in mapping dot items, so that we will get the both key and values. Okay. The DFS equal to DFS dot with column rename column rename original calls new calls. Okay. That's fine. And we need to write it to the Parquet, right? So for that we need to Parquet for equal to x of output folder. Fine. So let's have the timestamp value as well. Date time dot now dot st RP time st RP time percentage y slash percentage. Okay, just for maintaining the folder structure hierarchy with the date part. Okay, I can not strp right, string to the formatted type. Now let's say dfs dot call ac1 dot I think right more sorry dot right dot more. I'm keeping as a override mode dot option, keeping headers as true while writing the pocket. Okay. Then the format I'm going to mention here as a Parquet and save as, save Parquet path, which we will get from the control data frame slash file name as well from the control data frame slash timestamp. Let's write some print statement. Print return to Parquet path for the file name. Okay, let's print it done. Now let's run this function. Yes, let's run this function as well. Okay, so let's go to the sales. Let's go to the catalog. DBFS. Come back. Yeah, we have the sales. Two-wheeler, year, month, date. So inside that one, we have the pocket file. So let's copy this part and just try to read it out, therefore checking whether it's worked fine or not. Spark dot read dot format forget dot load dot, let's say, columns. Fine. Check diagram columns. Okay. This is the two-wheelers file, Parquet file. So this two-wheelers Parquet file, what happened? So instead previously we have the original column name as OEM that has been renamed to brand. Okay, that's what actually written in the metadata columns, and it was renamed. Next, month of sale, and what are the remaining columns? Yeah, month has to be renamed as month of sale, and year as well as model price to the price range. So remaining columns are as it is remain. It doesn't change. So it is only changed for the whatever the mapping condition we created. This is how we are going to rename the columns in a dynamic way. Okay, month has been renamed to the month of sale, and year has been renamed to year of sale, and model price has been renamed to the price range. So this is how we are going to rename the columns in a dynamic way. So what we did, we read the control data frame, and we taken the file name and file path and required the columns, and we created a data frames out of the control data frame. And once again, we created a reference data frame which have the meta columns. Okay. So from that columns, we only selected the particular columns associated with the file names and the particular columns which are should be renamed. Okay. So for that one, we created a mapping condition with a dictionary comprehension. And by using with column renamed, we just override whatever the column should be renamed. And finally, we return to the Parquet form. Okay. This is how we are going to perform the rename columns for the selected columns only dynamically with the mapping condition. Okay. So under these meta columns and meta table and the source files are going to mention in the description. Okay. Please go to that. Thank you.